Hidden beneath the sands of Egypt, a secret chamber has been uncovered, a place untouched for thousands of years. Inside lies a mask, an altar, and whispers of a forgotten king who defied death itself. What ancient power has been awakened? What terrifying secrets do the pyramids hide, waiting for the right moment to return? Stay with us as we reveal the chilling story that history tried to erase. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a secret the world doesn't want you to know. The story of the pyramids has always fascinated the world. For centuries, these massive monuments have stood tall in the desert, guarding the mysteries of an ancient civilization. Millions of people have visited them. Countless books have been written, and still, we feel like we only know the surface of their secrets. Deep inside their stone corridors, beneath layers of rock, and hidden in the shifting sands, the pyramids have concealed chambers that nobody imagined. But recently, archaeologists made a discovery so incredible that it shocked historians, scientists, and the entire world. Beneath the Great Pyramids, a chamber was found that had been sealed for thousands of years. A room untouched by time, a hidden vault of secrets that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about ancient Egypt. To understand this discovery, we must first go back in time, thousands of years ago, when the pyramids were first built. Imagine the scorching sun of the desert. Thousands of workers carrying massive stones, their sweat dripping as they drag each block into place. The pyramids were not just tombs for kings, they were symbols of eternal power. The ancient Egyptians believed in life after death, and for their pharaohs they wanted to create a path to immortality. Every chamber, every corridor, and every secret passage was designed with the belief that the pharaoh would live forever, journeying into the afterlife surrounded by treasure, protection, and the blessings of the gods. For centuries, explorers and archaeologists have entered the pyramids searching for these treasures. Some found golden artifacts, some found mummies wrapped in linen, and some only found empty stone rooms, robbed long ago by thieves. But the true mystery was never solved. Were there hidden chambers, secret rooms, that even ancient robbers never found? Many legends spoke of tunnels beneath the pyramids, of hidden vaults where the greatest secrets of Egypt were stored. Stories passed down through generations claimed that beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza lay a chamber built not for kings, but for something far more mysterious. That it was in the modern age, with advanced technology, that archaeologists began to search deeper. They used ground-penetrating radar, thermal imaging, and scans that could see through stone walls. And one day, something unusual appeared on their scanners. Beneath one of the pyramids, they detected an empty space, perfectly symmetrical, carefully hidden behind thick walls of stone. At first, many believed it was an error, but as the scans were repeated, the truth became undeniable. There was a chamber, and it was huge, hidden beneath the pyramid for over 4,000 years. The world watched in suspense as a team of experts carefully drilled a tiny hole through the rock, inserting a robotic camera into the darkness. What the camera revealed sent chills through everyone watching. The walls of the chamber were covered with carvings, symbols of the gods, and inscriptions that had never been seen before. In the center of the chamber stood a massive stone sarcophagus, sealed tightly. Around it lay objects that glittered even through the dust, suggesting treasures untouched for millennia. This was not an ordinary burial chamber. This was something far greater. The discovery raised immediate questions. Whose tomb was this? Why was it hidden so carefully? Why did the ancient builders conceal it under layers of stone, away from all entrances? Some believed it belonged to a forgotten pharaoh, a king whose name had been erased from history. Others believed it could be the legendary Chamber of Knowledge, a room spoken of in myths where the Egyptians stored sacred scrolls, knowledge passed down from the gods themselves. The air in the chamber was stale, untouched since the day it was sealed, and the silence of 4,000 years seemed to whisper in every corner. When the archaeologists finally entered the chamber, carefully stepping onto the ancient floor, they were overwhelmed. The room was larger than any chamber found before. The ceiling stretched high above, supported by stone columns carved with hieroglyphics. The carvings told a story of death and rebirth, of gods guiding a soul into the afterlife. Some symbols were familiar, but others were unlike anything seen before. They suggested a connection to something even older than the pyramids, as if this chamber was built not just for a king, but for a purpose lost to time. One of the most striking discoveries was a series of sealed clay jars placed around the sarcophagus. Each jar was marked with strange symbols, as though they were not meant to be opened. The team realized they were standing in front of something that could change history. But with this discovery came fear. Ancient texts had warned that disturbing the dead would bring curses, and now, standing in the chamber, with the weight of history pressing down on them, the archaeologists felt that warning more strongly than ever. News of the discovery spread across the world. Historians, scientists, and conspiracy theorists debated endlessly. Some claimed it was the tomb of a lost ruler. Others said it was proof of advanced knowledge, evidence that the Egyptians had secrets far beyond what we understood. And some whispered of darker things, that the chamber was never meant to be opened, that it contained something the ancients feared. For the first time in centuries, the pyramids had revealed a secret, but it was only the beginning. The objects inside the chamber had to be studied, the inscriptions translated, and the sarcophagus opened. Each step promised to uncover truths buried in stone, but also dangers unknown. The pyramids were built to guard eternity, and now, in the modern world, their silence had been broken. The first part of this journey is not just about discovery. It is about standing at the doorway of history, staring into the darkness, and realizing that what we thought we knew about Egypt was only a fraction of the truth. The hidden chamber beneath the pyramids was not just another archaeological find. It was a doorway to secrets so powerful that they could rewrite history itself. And as the world held its breath, waiting for the sarcophagus to be opened, one question remained, above all. What was so important, so sacred, that the ancients locked it away for eternity? The answer lay in the darkness of that chamber, and the story was only beginning. When the team of archaeologists stood before the great stone sarcophagus inside the hidden chamber, they knew they were about to cross a line that no one had crossed in over 4,000 years. The air was heavy, thick with the weight of history and mystery. For weeks, they prepared carefully, documenting every inch of the chamber, scanning the objects, photographing the hieroglyphics. The inscriptions on the walls told stories of gods and kings, but there were also warnings, words carved deep into the stone that seemed less like decoration and more like commands from the past. Translated roughly, they read, "Disturb not, the sleeper, for eternity guards this place." But despite the warnings, curiosity was stronger. Humanity has always reached for the unknown, and this chamber was too extraordinary to leave untouched. With delicate instruments, the archaeologists began to examine the sarcophagus. It was massive, carved from a single block of granite, polished, smooth, and sealed so tightly that no cracks could be seen. The effort required to create such a structure thousands of years ago was staggering. It suggested that whoever lay inside was no ordinary figure. Before they opened it, the team decided to study the surrounding artifacts. The clay jars, sealed with resin, contained strange substances. Some held dried herbs, others fragments of linen, and one jar was found to contain a black, tar-like substance that seemed resistant to decay. These were likely offerings or rituals for the afterlife, but the unusual markings on the jars made them unique. Unlike traditional Egyptian burial goods, these symbols hinted at something more secretive, almost as if the jars themselves were protective barriers against whatever was inside the tomb. As experts worked to translate the inscriptions on the walls, they uncovered fragments of a story. It spoke of a ruler who was stripped of his name and buried beneath the stones of eternity. Ancient Egypt often erased the names of kings they wanted to forget, usually for betrayal, heresy, or political shame. This raised a startling possibility. The hidden chamber could belong to a pharaoh deliberately erased from history. Someone so controversial that even mentioning his existence was forbidden. The tension grew as the team prepared to lift the lid of the sarcophagus. Advanced machinery was brought in because the weight of the stone was too great for human hands alone. Cameras and sensors were ready to capture every second. Around the world, millions waited for the announcement of what was inside. Finally, the moment came. With a grinding sound, the lid slowly shifted, revealing darkness inside. The archaeologists peered in cautiously, expecting to see a mummy wrapped in linen, perhaps with golden ornaments. But instead, what they saw was shocking. The sarcophagus was empty. Completely empty. Gasps filled the chamber. How could this be? After all the secrecy, all the warnings, all the hidden effort to protect this place, why was there no body? The team examined carefully. The inside of the sarcophagus showed signs that it had once held something, but it was long gone. The linen wrappings of a mummy were missing. The treasures that usually accompanied a burial were gone. At first, some thought it must have been looted, but that seemed impossible. The chamber had been sealed and untouched for thousands of years. No thief could have entered. The possibility emerged that the sarcophagus was never meant to hold a body at all. Confusion spread. If this was not a tomb, then what was it? As they continued to search, they discovered something extraordinary beneath the sarcophagus itself. Hidden beneath the heavy stone was a passage narrow, carved deep into the bedrock, leading downward into darkness. It was a tunnel, invisible to the scans that had revealed the chamber, as though it was designed to remain undiscovered. Carefully, the archaeologists lowered cameras into the passage. The images revealed another chamber, smaller but equally mysterious. Its walls shimmered faintly, as though coated with minerals that reflected light. The team decided to explore. Further, they descended into the hidden tunnel, their footsteps echoing as they moved into the lower chamber. What they found there was even more baffling. On the floor lay a collection of scrolls, sealed inside stone containers. This was unusual. Papyrus was extremely fragile, and the idea that scrolls could survive for thousands of years seemed almost impossible. Yet here they were, preserved by the dryness of the sealed room. When they carefully unsealed one container and examined the papyrus, they discovered lines of writing unlike any other Egyptian script. The symbols were older, more primitive, as if they belonged to a civilization that existed before the pyramids themselves. Some experts suggested it could be Proto-Egyptian, a language that predated hieroglyphs, hinting at knowledge passed down. From an even earlier time, the texts spoke of the guardians of the underworld, the curse of the forgotten king, and references to a star that fell to earth. This sent shockwaves through the academic community. Was this evidence that the Egyptians had knowledge of astronomical events long before modern science? Did they hide this knowledge away in chambers like this one, guarded for eternity? But the most unsettling discovery came at the far end of the chamber. Embedded into the stone wall was a mask crafted, not from gold, but from a strange black material that scientists could not immediately identify. The mask had the face of a man, but its eyes were hollow and wide, almost unnatural. In front of it was an altar, stained with what looked like dried residue of ancient offerings. It was clear that this room was used for rituals, but whether they were religious, magical, or something darker remained a mystery. Whispers of curses returned. Some team members reported feeling uneasy inside the chamber, as though they were being watched. Equipment malfunctioned, batteries drained unusually fast, and cameras captured flickering lights that seemed to vanish when investigated. Superstition clashed with science, but the unease grew stronger each day. The scrolls were taken out carefully and sent for study. As linguists worked to translate them, shocking details emerged. The writings described a ruler who was born of blood but unfit for the throne. He was said to have betrayed the gods, attempting to claim immortality for himself through forbidden rituals. The priests, horrified, conspired to erase him from memory. His name was stricken from records, his statues destroyed. And instead of a grand pyramid burial, he was hidden away in a secret chamber where his memory would rot forever. But the texts also hinted at something darker, that the ruler was not truly dead, that his essence was sealed in darkness, waiting for the day it might be released. The jars with strange substances, the black mask, the warnings carved into stone all now took on new meaning. This chamber was not built to honor a king. It was built to contain one. For archaeologists, this raised terrifying questions. Had they unknowingly broken a seal that was never meant to be opened? If the chamber was not a tomb, but a prison, then what exactly had they disturbed? Despite the growing unease, the world was captivated. Media outlets ran endless stories, some calling it the greatest discovery of the century, others warning of curses. Conspiracy theories exploded. Some claimed the Egyptians had hidden knowledge of extraterrestrials. Others believed the scrolls pointed to lost civilizations older than Egypt itself. And still, the greatest mystery remained unsolved. If the sarcophagus was empty, where had the body gone? Or was there never a body at all? The discovery had only deepened the enigma. Every answer led to more questions. The scrolls hinted that more chambers existed, deeper underground, connected through tunnels that had not yet been explored. But entering them would mean going even further into forbidden territory. For the archaeologists, the choice was agonizing. They had uncovered something extraordinary, but also something dangerous. The pyramids had always stood as monuments of death and eternity, but now they seemed to whisper warnings louder than ever. The hidden chamber was no ordinary find. It was a riddle written in stone, a secret kept by an ancient civilization that had gone to extreme lengths to ensure no one disturbed it. And now, in the modern age, those secrets were finally exposed to the light. But what lay ahead, what remained hidden deeper beneath the pyramids, was still waiting. And as the team prepared for their next descent, they could not shake the feeling that they had awakened something that should have been left undisturbed for eternity. The story of the hidden chamber was far from over. It had only just begun. The decision to continue deeper into the pyramid's hidden tunnels was not made lightly. The team of archaeologists gathered late into the night, debating what they had already discovered and what dangers might lie ahead. They had uncovered scrolls written in a strange, ancient script, artifacts that defied traditional Egyptian burial practices, and most unsettling of an empty sarcophagus that suggested the chamber was not a tomb, but a prison. The warnings carved into the walls echoed in their minds. Disturb not the sleeper, for eternity guards this place. Still, the pull of discovery was stronger than fear. Humanity had always been driven to explore the unknown, and this was an opportunity unlike any other. The pyramids had stood for thousands of years, shrouded in mystery, but now they had revealed a secret that promised to rewrite history. Cameras were set, lights prepared, and a small team descended into the newly discovered tunnel beneath the sarcophagus. The passage was narrow and uneven, carved with an eerie precision. Unlike the grandeur of the upper chamber, this tunnel felt almost oppressive. The air grew colder as they descended, and the silence was so complete that even the sound of their breathing felt intrusive. After several minutes, the tunnel widened into a chamber far smaller than the one above, but its contents were no less startling. The walls here were not covered with the familiar hieroglyphics of ancient Egypt. Instead, they were painted with crude figures, humans with animal heads, strange star symbols, and depictions of rituals. At the center of the room stood a pedestal, and upon it rested a sealed box made of dark stone. It looked impossibly heavy, yet it sat perfectly balanced, as though placed there with immense care. When the team carefully examined the box, they found it was inscribed with markings, unlike anything seen before. Linguists later argued it was a blend of Proto-Egyptian script and symbols borrowed from Mesopotamian traditions. This alone was astonishing, as it hinted at a connection between civilizations thought to be separate. The inscriptions spoke of the forbidden king who sought eternity and the mask that sees beyond life. It was clear this box was central to the mystery of the hidden chamber. The archaeologists hesitated. Was this box another container for a body, or something entirely different? When they carefully lifted the lid, what they found inside shocked them all. It was not a mummy, nor treasure, but a collection of objects wrapped in linen. There were strange amulets, fragments of bone, and a small, intricately carved statue made of black stone. The statue depicted a man with a human body but an elongated head and exaggerated eyes. Its craftsmanship was unlike typical Egyptian art. It felt older, stranger, as though it belonged to a forgotten culture. Experts would later suggest the statue might represent a deity, or perhaps a figure of power, but some whispered it resembled something far less human. The idea unsettled many, yet they could not ignore the possibility that the Egyptians had access to knowledge beyond what history recorded. In addition to the objects, they found several scrolls wrapped tightly in layers of fabric. When unrolled carefully, the writing revealed chilling passages. They described rituals involving blood, fire, and the alignment of stars. One scroll spoke of a celestial gate that could be opened during a specific time when a star, they called the Watcher, aligned with the pyramid's apex. Another mentioned the transfer of life essence from one body to another, forbidden act, condemned by the priests. These discoveries painted a terrifying picture. The forgotten ruler, whose memory had been erased, had not simply been a disgraced king. He was someone who sought to cheat death itself, using rituals that combined astronomy, sacrifice, and power. The chamber and its objects were not a tomb, but a vault, locking away the evidence of these acts so that no one could repeat them. But the mysteries did not end there. At the far corner of the chamber, a narrow crack in the stone revealed yet another hidden passage. This one sloped downward at a steep angle, almost like a chute, leading into total darkness. The team debated whether to continue, but their curiosity won again. Ropes and safety gear were prepared, and they lowered themselves carefully into the passage. What awaited them below was unlike anything they had seen so far. The chamber they entered was vast, larger than either of the ones above. Its ceiling arched high overhead, and the walls were covered in shimmering crystal-like formations that reflected their lights eerily. In the center of the room stood a structure that looked almost like an altar, made of polished black stone. Upon it lay a massive mask, the same black material as the one discovered earlier. This mask, however, was larger, nearly the size of a human torso, with hollow eyes that seemed to stare endlessly into the void. Around the altar were carvings that depicted scenes of sacrifice. Figures were shown kneeling, offering blood to a central figure, wearing the very same mask. The imagery was disturbing. It suggested that whoever wore the mask had been the focus of worship, or perhaps even fear. But the most unsettling discovery was the floor itself. Beneath the altar, carved into the stone, was a large circular design filled with intricate patterns. It looked almost like a map of the stars, but with symbols that did not match any known constellation. In the center of the circle was a deep cavity, as though something had once been placed there. Some suggested it could have held a relic, perhaps the missing body of the forgotten king, or something even stranger. Whatever it was gone now, and that absence was more haunting than its presence might have been. The team worked tirelessly to document everything, but as they did, strange events began to unfold. Electronic equipment malfunctioned more frequently, and several members reported hearing faint whispers echoing in the chamber. At first, these were dismissed as paranoia, the result of stress and exhaustion. Yet the whispers persisted, growing clearer, almost as if words were forming. Some claimed they heard their names spoken. Others swore the whispers were warnings. The atmosphere became unbearable. Some team members wanted to leave immediately, fearing they had gone too far. But others argued that walking away from such a discovery would be unthinkable. Humanity had to know what secrets the pyramids still held. As debates raged, a final discovery pushed the mystery into even darker territory. Behind the altar, a hidden niche was found. Inside was a small chest, sealed with wax. Breaking it open, revealed several thin sheets of beaten gold, each etched with writing. These were not ordinary inscriptions, they were confessions. Written by priests thousands of years ago, they described the ritual execution of the forgotten king. According to their words, he had been captured during a ceremony where he attempted to use the mask and the star alignment to claim eternal life. The priests declared him cursed, bound his essence, and sealed him beneath the pyramid, so that his spirit would never roam free. But the confessions ended with a chilling warning. If the seal is broken, the one without death shall rise again. For the archaeologists, the implications were terrifying. Had they broken that seal by entering? Was the emptiness of the sarcophagus a sign that something had already escaped long ago? Or was it waiting for the right moment to return? Back on the surface, the discoveries were announced to the world. Debate exploded. Some hailed it as the greatest find in the history of archaeology, while others denounced it as a dangerous mistake. Religious leaders warned that humanity was tampering with forces beyond understanding. Scientists tried to explain the phenomena logically, but even they could not dismiss the growing list of strange occurrences that plagued the team after the discovery. The mystery deepened further when analysis of the black mask revealed it was made from a material not found anywhere in Egypt. Some suggested it was meteorite iron, fallen from the sky. Others argued it was something even rarer, an unknown mineral with properties not yet understood. If it truly came from a meteor, then the references in the scrolls to a star that fell to Earth suddenly made sense. Perhaps this ruler had tried to use the cosmic material to achieve immortality. The story of the hidden chamber was no longer just about Egypt. It touched on humanity's eternal obsession with life after death, power, and the mysteries of the universe. The chamber seemed less like a burial site and more like a warning left by an ancient civilization that knew far more than history had recorded. Still, questions remained. Where was the body of the forgotten king? What was the true purpose of the mask? And was the seal truly broken? The team knew that deeper within the pyramid, other tunnels might exist, passages leading to chambers yet undiscovered. But whether they should continue was another matter entirely. The legend of the hidden chamber was no longer just an archaeological discovery. It was becoming a story of fear, awe, and the eternal struggle between humanity's thirst for knowledge and the dangers of uncovering secrets meant to stay buried. And as the archaeologists left the chamber that night, one thing was certain: the pyramids had not yet revealed their darkest secret. The world above the pyramids was alive with rumors, speculation, and an uneasy excitement. News of the hidden chamber had leaked, sparking a frenzy of journalists, scholars, and treasure hunters, all desperate to glimpse what had been lost for millennia. Yet, those who had ventured into the shadowed tunnels knew that the real story lay not in headlines or artifacts, but in what the pyramids themselves seemed to whisper in the silence of their hidden chambers. The archaeologists, exhausted yet unable to rest, returned repeatedly to the pyramid's base, haunted by what they had seen: the mask, the altar, the cryptic inscriptions. They had uncovered a fragment of history that contradicted everything known about the ancient world, and now, as the rare celestial alignment approached, their unease intensified. The scrolls, the golden confession sheets, and even the murals seemed to pulse with a silent warning. The moment of reckoning was near. Preparations for the alignment night were meticulous. Cameras were positioned on rooftops. Drones hovered above the desert sands, and a handful of trusted scholars remained near the entrance of the hidden tunnel. No one wanted to be inside during the alignment, yet a few felt compelled to witness history as it unfolded. The night sky itself was unusual. Stars blazed with clarity, and a soft wind carried a strange, electric tension across the desert. The Great Pyramid, bathed in moonlight, cast a long, sharp shadow, almost as if reaching toward the horizon like a sentinel. Inside the deepest chamber, the altar remained untouched since the last expedition. The black mask, now carefully wrapped and stored away, had been brought back by a few brave archaeologists, despite warnings from authorities. Its presence radiated a strange aura. Even the air seemed heavier, charged with static energy. The circle of stars etched into the floor glimmered faintly under their lights, as if anticipating the moment when the heavens and the pyramid would align perfectly. As midnight approached, the team gathered, their hearts pounding in the cold, silent chamber. When the first star of Orion's belt aligned with the pyramid's apex, a shiver ran through the group. The mask placed carefully upon the altar seemed to vibrate ever so slightly. The walls, once silent, emitted a low hum that resonated with the core of their chests. They watched in awe and fear, realizing that what the scrolls had described might actually come to life. Suddenly, the air grew impossibly cold. Breath misted before their faces, and a faint luminescence began to radiate from the mask. Shadows danced unnaturally on the walls, and the carvings depicting rituals and sacrifices seemed to shift, their figures moving in silent, deliberate motions. The team could barely speak, straining to comprehend what was unfolding. Then, from the far corner of the chamber, a soft whisper emerged. At first, it was indecipherable, a mere hum of sound, but slowly it formed words. The seal is broken. The cycle resumes. Panic gripped some of the archaeologists, while others were frozen in mesmerized horror. The mask's glow intensified, casting elongated, twisting shadows across the walls. And then they saw it, a faint outline of a figure, forming from the air itself, tall, regal, with an elongated head and eyes that seemed impossibly deep. The forgotten king had not been destroyed. His essence had waited, bound to the mask and the chamber, until the alignment allowed him to reappear. a gust of wind erupted from nowhere, extinguishing their torches and plunging the chamber into darkness. The figure moved closer, yet without making a sound. Some swore it looked sorrowful, others thought it menacing, but all agreed it radiated a power that was incomprehensible. The mask, now hovering above the altar, floated toward the apparition, perfectly aligning with its face. When the mask settled, the whispers grew louder, more urgent. I have waited. I have watched. I returned to walk among the living once more. The chamber quaked as if the pyramid itself acknowledged the awakening. Dust fell from the ceiling, and some of the walls shifted slightly, revealing hidden cracks that had not been noticed before. The team realized they were witnessing an event that had been planned, orchestrated, and feared by priests thousands of years ago. The Forgotten King's attempt at immortality had not failed, it had simply been delayed. As the figure fully emerged, the archaeologists noted a strange effect. Time itself seemed distorted. Shadows lingered longer than they should. Sounds echoed in impossible directions, and the temperature fluctuated wildly. Each member felt as though they were slipping in and out of reality, caught between the present and the millennia-old moment when the ritual had originally been performed. Some reached for the artifacts. They had brought golden sheets and the crystal amulets thinking they might contain some power to stop the figure. But the Forgotten King raised a hand, and everything fell silent. The items floated gently upward, suspended in the air by an unseen force, then returned to the altar as if acknowledging his presence. It was clear, the mask was not just a conduit, it was the vessel of his essence, and no human hand could control it. Then, almost imperceptibly at first, the king spoke. His voice was not singular, it was layered, the tones of many centuries echoing in one, each syllable resonating with knowledge, power, and a sense of eternity. He recounted events of his reign, rituals that had been lost to time, and the secrets of the pyramids that no scholar had ever discovered. Each word seemed to rewrite the known history of Egypt, revealing a civilization that had mastered techniques and wisdom far beyond contemporary understanding. Yet amid the grandeur, there was a warning. He spoke of balance, of forces humanity was not ready to comprehend, and of the dangers of seeking immortality through forbidden means. The mask was his tether, the chamber his prison, and the alignment had given him the briefest window into the world above. A warning, or perhaps a test. After what felt like hours, but may have been mere minutes, the figure began to fade. The glow of the mask dimmed, the whispers vanished, and the chamber returned to its eerie stillness. The team, shaken to their core, knew they had witnessed something extraordinary, an event that no one would believe without first-hand experience. The mask, now inert once more, rested quietly on the altar, but everyone sensed it was not dormant forever. As dawn approached, the archaeologists emerged from the pyramid. The desert was calm, almost serene, yet the experience had left an indelible mark on them. They carried with them not just artifacts, but knowledge of a king who had defied mortality, of a chamber that had existed beyond history, and of secrets that humanity might not be ready to face. The world above was ready to study, debate, and interpret, but the real mystery remained buried beneath the sands. The pyramids had kept their secret for millennia, and now they had chosen their emissaries to witness it. The story was far from over, and though the Forgotten King had faded from view, his presence lingered. Every night, under the desert stars, those who had entered the chamber reported strange phenomena, shadows moving in ways they shouldn't, whispers carried by the wind, and an unshakable feeling that someone, or something, was watching. The pyramids, monuments of eternity, had revealed just enough to ignite curiosity and fear. What else lay hidden beneath the stones? What other rituals, powers, or knowledge had been concealed by time and secrecy? And most hauntingly, if the Forgotten King could return once, could he return again? The hidden chamber remained a living mystery, a testament to the ambitions of those who sought immortality, and a chilling reminder that some secrets are never meant to be fully unearthed. Even as the archaeologists departed, leaving the desert quiet once more, one thing was certain: history had opened a door that humanity was only beginning to glimpse. The pyramids were no longer just tombs, they were gateways, warning us, challenging us, and holding secrets that could change everything we thought we knew about life, death, and the power that binds them. And in the distance, beneath the fading stars, the faintest whisper could still be heard. The cycle is not finished, and I wait.